Okay, this is another little video on stamping backgrounds to then paint on top of. So this is going to be a little different than showing the crackle image on top of the surface. This starts with a script as the background and then paint on top of that. Here I've just sketched on the little holly leaves and berries like I did the pear yesterday. These are two different script background stamps. This is just a commercially bought one from Hero Arts out of the stamping section, and I think this one actually came from a Michaels or an AC Moore. This is an unmounted stamp from a company that a friend of mine owns, Innovative Stamp Creations, and just has a random script. It says something, but I can't remember what it says. So this right here was from this stamp right here. The difference in the two is if you have to stamp this multiple times, it's harder to line things up and see them than when you use the unmounted stamps and the clear blocks, because then you can tell where you need to repeat the image at. The way you can get around that is, even though you buy the stamps on the wooden blocks, you just peel them off of the cushion that's on there and use them like I did this stamp, which was just the unmounted rubber. This is the crackle stamp. I'll show you a couple of the other crackle backgrounds that I have. This is just a small one from a company called Hearts and Touch. I believe she's still in business, but I'm not sure. This is another crackle background from Innovative Stamp Creations. This one was from a company that's no longer in business. I believe it was called Paper Inspirations, and this background was called Aged Paper, if I believe correctly. But anyway, it's a really cool background. And then this is a wood grain background that's also from Innovative Stamp Creations. And when you stamp it, it kind of gives you the effect that it was an old board or piece of wood. So that's just some of the different background crackle stamps that I have. Then this is one, I know this one is still available in stores. It's by Rubber Stampede, and it makes this background, and also it's going to come off of the wooden block because it's harder for me to see. I want to show you this with this particular stamp. This one was one I just did a research online to find a crackle image. But because I want to be able to do more things with this background stamp, I'm actually going to cut it and make, this will be one longer stamp that I'll use just like this. This particular part of the image, because it has a tighter crackle and a more open crackle, I want to be able to use them independently. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and cut that in half. So out of that one stamp, I now have three different looking stamps. This has a tight and an open crackle. This is just a tight crackle, and this is a more open crackle. So I'll use those in different ways in upcoming projects. So for this particular one here, I'm going to stamp on, I've already stained and base coated the wood piece. And just like I showed yesterday, I just put the paint all over the stamp and then kind of line it up. And I do this at an angle across the image because I don't want it to be straight across, and then because I didn't get it exactly straight, then it kind of looks, you know, off kilter. And here I just have to do the bottom part of the little limb. So I'll just put some paint on there. So then once that dries, then I'll paint my little chubby bluebird design on it, and I'll show you it once it dries. This is one where the background stamp is already dry, and I just took a chalk pencil. I have these General's pastel chalk pencils. It was just the, I think, 24-piece set, and I used them depending on the background color. I think I used the gray one, and now I don't see it, but anyway, and put the design on, and then I just work with my paints a little thinner than using them full strength, and I add my color to each shape, and then I go back and I add all the shading and the highlighting for the various looks that I want each shape to have. In this case, it would be the holly leaves here, and then I do the little berries, same thing with just some thinned red paint, and I just get them laid in. I don't have quite enough water in my brush. My poor pathetic 1/4-inch angle brush gets used for everything, so it's pretty well getting worn, but I love using this brush, so I still grab it every time I do something. So I get some color laid in, and then I go back and I finish filling in anything that didn't quite get the shape or the look that it needs to have. And so after that dries, I'll probably give it another simple wash of those same colors, and then I'll finish this one up and show you how it looks.